I was like preaching in church and stuff like that, or not preaching, like the messages. But I find that God transformed me, like I'm talking, like a car crash changed, like in my bedroom. One morning, incredible. 27 minutes.
I was a PK, I was a pastor's kid, but I left church at 10. And then, yeah. Left church at 10. When I was 11, I joined a gang in South London. I was a gang member until I was about 16. I gave my life to God in my room after one of my brothers died. I started preaching at 16, haven't stopped, and I'm 31.
So anyone knows me knows that I'm not that quick, but I feel like I have to. So
oh yeah, you do have to.
I went to church when I was younger because my grandma goes to church, but didn't for quite a lot of my secondary school years. When I was young, I was sexually abused, which most people don't know, and so that left a lot of baggage and a lot with me. I got very depressed, very suicidal a lot of the time, and just loads of other stuff. But I started going to church at the end of 2011 because I had a very persistent friend who I actually went to shut him up because he was annoying. But I loved it and I've been going since. I don't remember the day I got saved, but I got baptised May 2014 and I've been growing from there.
I guess it's only fair that I give a little short thing about me. So I started going to church when I was about 15, and at that point I started going because my mum got locked up, she went to prison. And my uncle, he used to go to the church, and so he took me. And I was attending and I was like, this is so dead, I need an opportunity to get out. Not thankfully, but at the time my granddad died, and then I was like, yeah, this is my time to be like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. Left, did my own thing, moved down to London. It was so hard for me to connect with people, and I'm a guy who can talk to anybody. Nobody was clicking with me, and I came back, and then I was just like, yo, I was trying every other religion, and then my brother said, come to church, and then I went. They threw me out, and I came back the next week, and I was like, you know what? Real talk, I went in with my little brother, and I had a hat on, and I came in and I came boxing in. All of that, and then they were like, leave, you know. But that's another story for a different time. I'll get into the ins and outs of that a different time. But yeah, I went back the next week, and I haven't stopped going from that day. So yeah, that's my little thing. Just from one of the guys and one from one of the girls, a question is, what was the hardest part of the process of bearing good fruit? So when you bear good fruit, what was the hardest part of doing that? Good fruit?
To be honest, to be honest, you have to understand that we're naturally inclined to do the things of the flesh. So even though we do good stuff in ministry and we're trying to be nice and holy, you can't forget that naturally you want to do the bad stuff. And I'll just be real, the constant fight sometimes is your feelings are irrelevant in ministry. So, like, doing good, fruitful stuff is not meant to feel good all the time. Sometimes you're going to feel really bad, but it's learning, and this was my hardest part, was going through, crazy feelings, but I still had to do ministry, or I still had to produce good fruit. And the simple point is just finding out that doing good stuff doesn't always feel good. So that was the hardest thing that I realized young in my ministry.
Just from one of the guys learned, one guy, one girl. Sorry to cut you off. You'll get another opportunity to ask about some questions. There's more questions, don't worry.
So as we learn, as we're learning, there's a lot of hard stuff. For me, I think one of the hardest things to me is feeling like I want to give up and knowing. Because I knew from very early in going to church, even though up until this day I don't fully understand it, I knew from very early that God has a call in my life, and it didn't even make sense to me, but He made sure that I knew that. So I think the hardest part for me is like when I want to give up, when I want to throw in the towel, when I just feel like I can't do it anymore, and it's too hard. But knowing that I have to, or not necessarily have to, but knowing that that there are souls on the other side of what I decide to do or not to do, and also losing the loss. But I learned that obviously in Christ every loss is really gain. But at the beginning, losing friends isn't easy. Being different isn't easy. Cutting off the things stopping the things that I used to enjoy doing or did with my circle wasn't easy because you begin to feel left out and lonely. But then I learned that I was set apart.
So for Tyrone and Esther, yeah, you should try. What is purification to you? What does it mean to you?
I say looking like Christ. In a nutshell, purification. Sometimes, like for example, we look at like Romans. Well, I would anyway. Anyone that knows me knows that I like to read Romans. I think it's in my don't get me wrong. The rest of the Bible is amazing. It's incredible. But it just gives you, for me, I'm all about not shortcuts in an ideal church, but it gives you a front to back cover of Christianity in one book. So don't neglect the rest. But like Romans speaks about like the transforming and the renewing of the mind, and like how we're changed through the word, and it's the word that purifies and sanctifies us. So Christ is the ultimate picture and display of what purification looks like for me. And for me personally, this may sound weird as well, but how I'm learning more about purification. I'm newly married. I got married like. My wife should be there in the pizza.
Skin.
Yeah.
I feel like I should shout my wife out like that. Hey, wife.
Yeah, but it's where she helps me in my purification unknowingly. Just seeing her actions I find an encouragement, and I see God in her. And for me, that's how I visibly see purification as well, in the sense of seeing the good works that she does, the charities she works for, how she'll go out of her way to help people in church outside of the Sunday service and stuff like that. And it's those. If this is answering the question, that's what really it helps me in my purification. But yeah, the ultimate true picture of purification is Christ. Is the purest form of any being that there is. He's completely holy. There is no sin in him, like whatsoever. So yeah, but my wife asked me purification.
And Esther, what does purification mean to you?
For me, I used to think purification was about work, so trying to live a sin-free life. So every single day I'd be like, today I'm not going to sin, I'm not going to sin. And within the first hour, I would sin. And then I'd go through this like kind of condemn, oh God, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm just a sinner saved by grace, kind of, depression party that I want God to feel sorry for me, so that maybe he might add some more purification points. But that didn't always occur. I think what I learned was that purification is all about the matter of your heart.
Yeah.
And God's always looking at the motive of why you do everything that you do. And so I was so focused on looking righteous by not linking a guy or not smoking something or not partying and those kinds of things. And my holiness looked like, I was in every ministry, I was preaching, I looked like, Miss Holy Spirit woman sort of thing. But God was like, but your heart is so far from, you're doing the things that look like Jesus, sound like Jesus, you're looking like you're loving those that are hating you, but in your heart you're cussing them. So I think that purification for me is about living authentically from my heart, where I know that God sees what's inside of me and making sure that everything I do is unto him. And it doesn't matter what other people think or what other people don't think, it's just about what he thinks. It's living for an audience of one person, and that audience is obviously him. And I think that even when we do trip up or we do, knock hurdles over, it's not about what will the church think of me or what will people in ministry think of me, but it's what will my Father think of me. And in that instant moment, you get forgiveness, you get grace, and you think, I never want to disappoint you again, so I'm going to try it even harder. So yeah.
Amen. Thank you for that. I really like what you guys said. I think that you said, Tyrone, was about your wife. You see purification within your wife. where I'm coming from, I'm from the road. I'm not a PK, I haven't grown up in church, any of that, and all I know is the road. That's all I knew. And my wife, she's the complete opposite. She grew up in church, dad's a minister, all his kids in church, all of that. And so seeing how her heart is so pure, how she saw the good in everything and in everyone, and boy, it got annoying because I was like, don't you think that person's so errors? She's like, nah. Just take time for her, man. So seeing her, really live up to how God says we're to live and love those who, He says we are to love. It just made me see, purification is way beyond what we even think it is. It's not just about, putting clothes in the wash and they're clean, because sometimes you put clothes in the wash, you take them out, and sometimes they smell. You're like, I just put these in the washing machine. So it goes beyond just an outward thing. It goes deeper than that. And we're just going to get to some questions. I'm going to ask the panel the questions, and they're going to give us some answers. And I don't want you to just give the answers what you think that we want to hear or what you think is correct. Just give us what's really on your heart. And if anybody has anything to add to that, please do raise your hand. Someone's going to come over, give you a microphone, all of that. So feel free to join in. Yeah. And don't be shy, because I'll go over with the mic and hold it to your mouth so you can speak. Let's take it. First question, and that's to anybody on the line. The question is, how can I develop intimacy with God?
I would say develop intimacy with God, by prayer, reading the Bible. So me, one thing that really helped me personally is journaling. That has developed my intimacy so much. And I found that, I started journaling last year, and I found that God really speaks to me through journaling. It sounds a bit weird, but the best way I can describe it is I'll be writing something, and it's kind of like me praying to God, like I'm talking to Him, writing to Him. And it's like an interruption of what I was saying. Does that make sense? So it's not coming from me. So yeah, I'd definitely say journaling. And just like creating an atmosphere of worship, like wherever you are, actually being intentional about spending time with Him, intentional about making that time, because it doesn't always come easily. Like I think consistency is one of my biggest struggles. So that's it.
To add on to that as well. For me, I'd probably say, in addition, that intimacy can look different for different people as well. I found that my most intimate times with God, I found that I'm just reading His Word, and then whilst I'm reading, I'm like stepping back and thinking about what I'm reading, and like meditating on what, like mid-reading, and like questions arise, and then it's as if like my mind's going everywhere, but I feel like He's closer than ever, if that makes sense. And like, some of my most intimate moments have been when there's something that rattles my mind, and I'm like, how does that even work? Like I was talking to Tim a moment ago, and I was talking to him about like how grace just baffles me. I don't grasp it. Like, it's mad. How does someone die for a sinner? Like and it's like wrestling and like wrestling with such questions and with the text. That's where I find like my intimacy with God. Like, I can lift my hands and I can praise God and I can be in prayer. When I'm in the Word, that's the closest I feel to Him. So that might look different for others. I'm sure a worship leader might find their most intimate moments in their bedroom or up here. Something, you know what I mean? Like singing and praising. But for me, that's what intimacy or closer.
I just want to change the question slightly. Yeah, it says, how can I develop intimacy with God? How can I practically, get intimate with God? Because it's, you said about reading, writing, all of that, and that goes hand in hand, But I put it to a person. If I want to get to know somebody, I can't just write about them. I can't just read about them. So how do I practically get intimate with God?
You know why it's funny? Is because you see when you go to church through your life, and it'll always be for me that, I always answer questions based on a church, attitude. But I'm not, just like yourself, I'm not from the building of church. So we're from London, if you guys are from London or you've been there, even if you go to church every week, it doesn't mean anything if you're from the hood. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, just very quickly, think about intimacy in this word, right? Intimacy is not for a, and I'm going to be honest with you, if you look at sexual intimacy, right, it's not for a little boyfriend and girlfriend. Does that make sense? Yeah. There was no amens because we didn't agree with that. Yeah. Right? Sex is meant to be for marriage, amen? Okay, so intimacy is meant to be in a relationship where you're one. So that's why you can be intimate, because you're one now. So that's why I like you, because you said, no, but show me practically though. Now you got to think about a relationship. We are intimate with many other stuff in our lives. Some of us are intimate with music or with doing badness, but the issue is not the intimacy, it's the fact that we find it so hard to do it with God. That's just the point. Bible study is not interesting. Praying is not interesting. That's why, even though we're saying pray and study, but I don't like it though. God is not Bible study. And that's the issue. We're sending people to things of God, but we're not sending them to God though. But then very, very, very quickly though, my last point is simply this, man. In a marriage, even though you're intimate, you're supposed to be intimate even in the bad times. So that, think about you and God now, right? You're not going to only find him in praise and worship. Intimacy is learning how to understand that God loves you when you're at your worst. Because then that teaches you, bro, God loves me when I'm at my worst though. So, right, he loves me hard. That's the beginning. You find out how much he loves you. And then that's the first steps of becoming intimate. You don't pick up your Bible because you don't like the Bible. You don't fall on your knees because you don't even pray in your bed. That don't make no sense. So that's why I would say you got to know that God loves you so much. And when you realize that someone loves you that much, that's the first step of becoming intimate.
Amen. Just to kind of give a practical element, I come from an African home. And if you have an African praying mother, they can pray for like 9 hours straight. So when I got saved, no joke, I literally used to fast, like no water, no food for 3 days. And I used to shut myself in my room and like pray. And I was like fully seeking God like 100%. And I thought that was intimacy, yeah? Until God came and broke it up. Hold on, yeah. And literally, there was a pride with my intimacy because I used to look at a next man that could only pray for 3 minutes. And I'm like, yo, whack. Like, come on, you need to go in the place, you know? You need to shut up. The realms of the spirit and all of that. And those that grew up on Winita Bynum, she used to go in, do you know what I mean? Auntie Winita, we bless God for your life, but man, still, yeah. And, you know, and you go behind the veil and all of this, threshing floor and all of that. And I was in at all of that. And, you know, by God's grace, I was preaching and I almost felt like I was entitled to preach because I spent 9 hours in the closet, do you understand, with God sort of thing. If you ain't heard Auntie Winita, you don't understand what closet is, but don't worry, just hashtag her or something, check her out. So I used to think that was intimacy. And then I remember after I preached for a while and I got to know people that I used to look up to in the faith, I'm just going to be real because you said we should be real, right? So I went to America and I sat with some big boys and I thought we were going to talk about the Bible, but they was comparing Rolexes and whose Rolls Royce was what and who had raised more of an offering than who, and there was a pressure on me to preach to raise a certain amount of offering. Now as I said, I was in the gang from the road. I don't have time to pretend. If Jesus ain't real, I'm going back because I was enjoying myself for God called me, do you understand? The raves were fun up, you know what I'm saying? So for me now, I was like, hey, do you know what I mean? I got back to London and I was like, Pastor, I don't want to preach no more, bunny, do you know what I mean? The Christian thing is fake. So basically what happened was I went through this like low time where I was like, God, what is life? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I know you're real, but I'm not feeling you like the next man is feeling you. I'm not getting the testimonies, the next man's getting testimonies. But I'm praying 9 hours, do you know what I mean? I'm putting it in, I'm fasting, like look at my lips, God, they're dry, do you know what I'm saying? I was getting frustrated, you know what I'm saying? Because that was what intimacy was to me. So basically, cut a long story short, I got this supernatural bank transaction, asked me after anyway, some big money, that's when I knew God was going to set me somewhere. And literally, he taught me what you said, he taught me about his love. He said, Esther, you know how to work for me, but you don't know me, you don't know love. Do you know what I mean? Because the Bible says in the book of John that God is love. Do you know what I'm saying? So if you don't understand what love is, you never understand what God is. Do you understand? So I feel like a lot of people have learned how to lift their hands in worship, and we've learned this fake kind of, church was deep today, we went in. What does that mean on Monday morning when the alarm clock goes off and you've got to get the tube for another or bus wherever you are to go to work because that atmosphere is not going with you. So basically,